500 milliliters of water. Basically, that's enough to cook a meal. You can have a hot tea, a hot coffee in the morning. It can be a lifesaver if you need to get that warmth inside you when those isobutane cans won't work for in the wintertime. Look at this. Hey guys, welcome to the channel today, your channel for fun and adventure in the outdoors. I'm Leather Champ. Welcome to my office today. We're inside. The temperature here in Winnipeg is about -9, so it's nice to do a little video inside. Today we're going to take a look at our How Do You Do segment of the Leather Champ channel, and we're talking about stoves. Wintertime's coming. It's time to switch up some gear, obviously, and that doesn't just include sleeping pads, sleeping bags, shelters. It also includes stoves. Okay, so what I've done is I've pulled out 3 burners, aka stoves. We have the MSR Pocket Rocket 2. We have a burner that I'm not quite sure the name of it. It was bought at Canadian Tire. It's either a Coleman or a Woods. And then we have a Primus. And I brought them all out for specific reasons. Mostly we're talking about fuel right now. These are great summertime options for you, but they're not a great wintertime option. So the Primus, I brought the Primus out. We'll get him out of the way right away. Primus is a little bit more greedy. This burner will not attach to an MSR bottle, nor will it attach to a Woods bottle. It will leak, and it's a hazard, and you have to be safe when you're working with combustibles. That's just a given. So just to let you know, I don't have a Primus fuel can. I returned it, and we'll talk about that in a second. But so anyways, I just want to make special note that this burner, a Primus burner, is not compatible because of the threads with MSR or Woods brand type of fuel. You need a Primus fuel to run a Primus stove. So let's just get that guy out of the way. Now, when it comes to these other 2 stoves, they both will attach to either cans. It doesn't really matter, and that's great. But I'm just going to read something off the label of this Woods can. Contents are self-pressurizing. However, below 0 or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, insufficient pressure is generated to sustain burner. So what this means is that in the wintertime, you can't use this Woods brand fuel. Now this Woods brand fuel is an isobutane fuel. And isobutane is a better mix than just butane, but it will not work below 0 freezing temperatures. This is only a spring, summer, and fall type of fuel, so let's make special note of that. The MSR type is an ISO Pro. Now what an ISO Pro is an isobutane mixed with propane. Now propane is the best fuel that you can get to take into the backcountry with you, but it's not at the same point in time. And the reason for that is that propane is under so much pressure that the weight of the container is ridiculous to take and throw in your backpack for hiking or backpacking, even canoeing, car camping. Yeah, sure, lug around that great big 20-pound bottle of propane. It'll work great in the wintertime. Absolutely phenomenal in the wintertime. That's why people barbecue on the winter times with their propane barbecues at their homes. It's a great fuel, but the container is so heavy that you're not taking it. The ISO Pro is a 20% mix of propane in here so that it will run in wintertime. I'm not going to say that this doesn't run in wintertime. I've used it, but you know, it's got some downfalls too. It doesn't run as efficiently. Let's start there. So you're not getting your bang for your buck out in one of these in the wintertime. And also, your best way to run one of these in the wintertime is that you need to put this freezing cold canister inside your sleeping bag with you. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, Who really wants to do that? Okay. Nobody wants to do that. At altitude, these guys are not your friend at all. Just as much as cold temperatures, altitude absolutely affects the pressure. These are pressurized. So at altitude and cold, they absolutely affect how well your burner is going to work with the pressure coming out of this. So that's also very important. If you're looking at high alpine or mountaineering or anything like that, this is also not your friend. And as a side note, please guys, when you're done with these fuel bottles, don't just go chucking them into your garbage. I know for a fact that if you're ever heading down to Mountain Equipment Co-op, and they are found all the way across Canada, you can absolutely head on in there with your empty cans, hand it to the sales clerk, and they will take care of responsible recycling of these bottles. So that leads us to this. This is your Coleman camp fuel. Basically what it is, it's white gas, and white gas will freeze between -40 and -200. That is depending on how it was distilled. So keep that in mind. This is supposed to be the cleanest burning white gas on the market. I have no problem using Coleman camp fuel, not at all. But this, because it does not freeze, and because when you connect your pump inside the bottle, you are pressurizing the fuel yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it's at for winter camping. Ladies and gentlemen, I will post my -48 camping failure of last year. I will put a tag here where you can see that. I went back out at -32, but nobody's camping under -48. I gave it a shot last year. That was insanely ridiculous. It was dangerous, and please don't do it. Another thing I'd like to say about this fuel is before you start using it, because you have the chance of coming in contact with the fuel itself, please read the label on the can that it comes in, especially the first aid measures. You never know, you splash some in your eyes by somehow an accident, whatever. Please be safe when you're using this fuel. There's another note about this fuel versus this fuel, is that this, you guys see me all the time camping inside my tent. I will never do that using this stove. It is just too much dangerous. When we get done the servicing of the pump and the stove itself, we're going to put it all, reassemble it, we're going to go out in the backyard, and we're going to light it up. We're going to show you how to get one of these stoves up and running, and then you'll see during that process why I will never use this stove with this fuel inside my tent. That is a no-go, so there we go. Thanks for joining the channel today. This is, so many people, they take a look and they think that this is a very daunting task of ripping these things apart, maintaining them, and putting them back together. And I just want to show you guys that that is not the case. Please just maintain your gear before you head out. These are mostly a winter type of stove. Don't head out in the wintertime without being properly have security in your knowledge that your equipment's going to work. Don't wait till you get out in the field to realize maybe you should have cleaned it up and gave it a little bit of maintenance. So we're going to do that as soon as I clean up the desk. We'll have a look. Okay, so here's the stove in question, the MSR Whisperlite. Get that out of the way. Tools that we're going to use in this procedure, believe it or not, is my long handle spoon. I love a long handle spoon, not just for eating out of a package, but I cook a lot over the fire. So this helps keep my hand, like, imagine the fire's here, and so it's nice to have, that little extra space between hand and fire. But also the MSR long handle spoon, it comes with the tool that's required to field service any MSR stove that they make. Any of their white gas stoves anyways. So this spoon is also the tool that you can service your MSR white gas stove in the field. So it's double it's a double use. All your equipment, guys, try to get your equipment to be double use. Even a spoon is a double use piece of kit. So, all right, so that's our first tool. Our second tool is because you can see how cruddy this thing is, okay? Let me get the light over here just so you can see that, okay? It needs some cleaning up. When we take this thing apart, my next tool is going to be a brass brush, just so I can just clean it up a little bit once we get the tube out of there anyways. Next tool that we're going to be using is just a squirted WD-40 and petroleum jelly. And that's what we're going to use just if I see that something, it looks like it's starting to get a little dry, like maybe a pump cup or an O-ring or something. We're just going to put a very light coating on top of that. And the next one that I haven't pulled out yet, which I will just run and grab in a second, is a Q-tip, just to help keep my fingers a little cleaner, maybe, as I am working with cameras and whatnot. So, and basically that's the tools that's required to service this stove and pump is at home. That's it right there. Okay, my friends, the first part of the system of running a white gas stove, you know, the Whisperlite MSR stove, white gas stove, the most important part of the whole system isn't the stove itself, it's the pump. Without this, you are done. The pump's job is to pressurize the fuel bottle. So I'll show you here. I haven't put fuel in this bottle yet. The fuel is still in the container that it came in. But what happens is that this pump somehow gets slid in here, screws on like this, and then you pressurize the bottle to send the fuel down the tube. It vaporizes in the heat and comes out for your flame. So without the pump, you don't have a stove. So in my opinion, the most important piece of the whole system is the pump. You need to take care of the pump. And that's what we're going to start off this video with doing, is servicing and inspecting this pump. So to start off, basically what we want to do is we want to take a look at this right here. So what this, you can just simply take your thumbs, push it down like this. It's a little bit stubborn, but that's good because you want it to make a good seal. So it being stubborn is a good thing. Takes a little bit of work, but you don't want to damage it either at the same point in time. There we go. Okay, so we're going to pull this guy off. And now we're going to have a good close inspection of it. We want to make sure that there's no cracks in it. You know, we want to make sure that it's in good shape. And as we can see with this one, again, I don't know how long this stove and pump were left laying in the bush before it was found, and then I don't know how long my buddy had it in his garage. So we really want to do a good thorough inspection before I head off into the field again. So we're taking a look at this. This looks like it's in great shape, which is awesome. Second thing we want to do now is we want to take a look at the pump cup. So to do that, you pull out, not that far, but you pull out, there's markings here, okay? If you can see that, there's markings on here. Right here and right here. And this tells you how to get the pump cup out. So basically what you want to do is you want to pull it out to where it says, then you give it a twist. Whoops. Where am I? Maybe I went too far. that, and then it slides out. And there's our pump cup. Now we got a little debris on there, but what we want to do is, again, we want to have a real good look in the light, and we want to make sure there's no cracks or tears in it. It looks like it's still fairly well lubricated, and that's a great thing. So that's your pump cup. That's what's going to pressure. That's what's going to push the air into the fuel bottle to give you your pressure. So this is very, very integral to the system. So we're in good shape there. Next thing we want to do is we want to take a look at, there's an O-ring in here that we want to have a look at. So we're going to take our MSR long handle spoon, and we're going to pop that guy off. A little bit more, I guess. And just do this stuff slowly, guys, because there's some of it has springs and stuff like that. So now, there we go. And this guy will come out. And then inside there's an O-ring. So I'm not going to be able to do this exactly on camera, but I want to get in there and I want to have a good inspection. Now, to take that out, what you would use is a safety pin, and you would just pry that out. So that looks like it's in pretty good shape too. So next thing we want to take a look at is down here. So we're going to pop this guy like that. We're going to slide him out. And this is, you have to be careful here because there should be a spring in here, and there is. And this is a flat type of washer one. And what this is the check valve. So this, with the pressure, pushes back and forth and allows the air in and doesn't allow the fuel out. So when you pump your pump, it sends air in, it pushes this to allow the air into the bottle, and then it closes again so that fuel doesn't come back out. That is a very important part of keeping you safe. Is this little guy here, and it's all well lubricated. I'm really surprised at how well lubricated this is for just being sitting around. So if I don't have to put petroleum jelly on anything, I'm not going to. I'd rather just wait and then just go and buy a little bit of there's a special oil that you can get from MSR that just helps keep these washers and all this kind of stuff soft and supple. So, but I see that I have a little damage here on my filter. This tube is going to have to be replaced, and I can also see the color of it. So basically all that you need to do to replace this guy is you just pull him out and then shove a new one back in, and that's all that it is there. So but you can see there that that's been damaged, but it's not broken through. So for the time being, at least for today, we're just going to leave this guy in place. Let's just put this back together. I'm satisfied with the amount of lubrication on there. Like you can see, that is nice and glistening. I will get some pump cup oil, and I will lube all this stuff up, but for today we don't need to worry about that. So in reverse order, we're going to push this guy back in. There's a slot that he fits into here, and we'll just take our spoon and we'll just lock him back in place. See guys, this is very, very simple. But I mean, to first, if you're not, oh, there's one more piece that we got to take apart. But if you're not really familiar with it, it does look daunting. This end on the spoon, let's take a check on this guy. That's what this end of the spoon is meant for. It's just a very light pressure to get that off. Now what you want to do is you just crack it loose, but don't start unthreading it. Start with unthreading the control valve, just a few turns, and then just work it back and forth together. And there we go. And this is your control valve. Now what I want to take a look at is this guy. How come this guy doesn't want to come out? There we go. It's this O-ring here. Now, the redness on it is designed to come off. So we don't have to worry about that. What I am going to do though on this guy is I am going to put a little petroleum on there, because he just doesn't look as moisturous as, you know, as what I think it could be. Don't put a lot on, guys. You don't need a lot. You just want to put a little bit of love onto it. And we just do that like this. There we go. Just to help keep it soft and supple. Again, not a lot. Just there we go. And so there we go. I guess maybe I could stop saying okay, so there we go. And basically now we're just going to put this back together. So this guy goes back on here like this. Your handle, which is going to be a little difficult here. It's a little bit tricky, but you just basically going to find your hole. There we go. Now this guy here comes up into the second hole. So there we go. We have that. And basically what we're going to do now is we're just going to, oh yeah, helps to put it on the right one, eh? A couple turns there, a couple turns there, a couple turns there, a couple turns there, a couple turns there. Screw this guy down. Screw that guy in. Screw this guy closed. Okay, now we take our and it's just maybe a 1/16 of a turn. Just like that, guys. That's all you need. There we go. Run it back and forth a couple times. Let that Vaseline get right in there. Pushes it kind of right into the... And that's that. So we reassembled this. We've reassembled that. Now we got to put this guy back in. And it's very simple. We just drop them in. And we get our spoon. Just like this. Oops. And that guy's done there. Now we take our pump cup, and while I have it out, I'll just throw a little, might as well, we're here. A little some on the inside, and a little some on the outside. Again, you're not putting very much, guys, just a very small amount. You just want to keep it soft and supple. And that guy slides back in here. Oh yeah, now it's got much better pressure. And we just lock it back in place. Remember, just go back up to your setting. What that does is it just allows that to clip. And there we go. Now, can you hear that? You can hear that check valve. So we're looking in good shape. And that, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, oh, we got to put this guy back on. So now you'll see where it's molded. Where it's molded here, that's the part that you want to put into like this. And then you just shove that guy up in there, just like that. And then give him a few twists to get him really seated. Because what you need is... This guy's meant to be a little bit stubborn, but that's what you want. Now what you have here, if you guys can see this in the light, is right here and right here and right here, there's some vent holes. You have to make sure that this gasket is pushed back far enough for the vent holes. And other than that, it's just pulling this guy out and replacing him. So we're gonna definitely want to have a field kit that we can carry with us as we head into the wintertime backcountry. It's very important to you know, make sure that yes, your gear is maintenanced, but at the same point in time, you don't want to head out into the minus 20s without making sure that you have some sort of repair kit to take care of your gear in the backcountry. Alright guys, we're going to switch things up here now, and we're going to rip apart the stove now that the most integral part, in my opinion, has been serviced. It's been inspected, and I'm confident that this will work for me in the backcountry. Alright guys, the first step in servicing the stove itself, this is more of a stove than it is a burner. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to just fold up the legs like we would for storage. And then you take your cup at the bottom. This is your primer cup. You're just going to unscrew that. Then, carefully, just, you know, you don't want to bend this stuff, but you just want to slide this out. That's all you want to do there. Then put your primer cup back on, guys. This way your legs stay attached to the stove. That's the only reason. And there we go. So just turn it up just like this. We'll pull the light over here a little bit more. I hope that's not on the camera lens. Okay. So this is a Whisperlite. So if I hold all these parts still, there's a needle in there. So what we want to do is we want to take that needle out. Again, using our long handle spoon, we get in here and we just loosen it. Doesn't take very much. Turn it upside down, and this way the needle stays in there. Now what you want to do is you want to drop that needle out. There it is. And then it's a very tiny hole, and it's supposed to be a tiny hole. But if you hold it to the light, you will be able to see through it. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see through that, but I can see through it, and that's good. What I want to do though is I'm going to take my needle, and I just want to push it in there just a couple times, just to try to ungoop it. There we go. That's a good fit. I double check in my light. I see good light through there. We're going to drop that needle because you don't want to damage it. We're just going to drop that needle back in there, and we're just going to set that aside. Now, coming back here, the next thing we want to do is we again take our long handle spoon, and we find the proper hole. You just twist it like this. It's hard to do when I'm trying to do it perfectly for you guys on camera. What we do is we get a good hold on it if we can. And it's supposed to come out. This one's being a little difficult, so it's good that we're servicing the stove. It's coming. So this means to me that this thing has some it's gummed up in here. It's gummed up in the tube. That's why this is so darn difficult to get out right now. Well, I think I'm just going to, because I'm at home and I have the option, I'm just going to go ahead and grab some pliers. Okay, we got some pliers. Just going to move it up just a bit. Huh. I'm not sure why this guy won't come out. So, I think what I'll do is, take some WD-40. I'm going to squirt some down in there. That was a lot. That was a lot of pressure to get that out of there, but we got it. So we're gonna spray some WD-40 back down in there. Okay. We're gonna take our wire. We're gonna stuff it back in there. Yeah, she's gummed up. Get it all the way in there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do this. Get that WD-40 right in there. So it's a darn good thing that we're doing some maintenance on this guy before I went into the field. And you just want to get this back and forth here a little bit. Okay, we're going to pull him out. We're going to wipe him off. And get them back in there. We'll do it again because we know that it was all just gummied up. And this is why maintenance is important, guys. Like, you have a look at it and you think, oh, well, it's all good, but... Okay, I'll wipe this guy off again. And while we let some of that WD-40 drain out, because we have the vaporizing tube is out of it, we're going to take our little brush and we're just going to give a little clean. Nothing special. There's not going to be like a lot of dirt, but you know, when it's easier to clean it when all the tubing is out and stuff like that. So, all right. And that, my friends, is basically it's serviced. So we just got to put it back together, and then we're going to flush the tube, and we'll show you that here in one quick second as soon as we get this wire. Oh no, let's not put the wire back in to do the flushing. What I've already done is I've gone ahead and I've taken the fuel from the can and I've filled the bottle. So we're going to need our pump. Install our pump into the fuel. As I splash it all over the place. Again, guys, don't be working and lightening stuff inside your house, okay? So we'll get the pump in there. Try not to cross-thread it because the pump is plastic, so just take your time. And there we go. Okay. Now, from a full bottle, you should only need about 15 pumps. So I did about 35, just until I felt that pressure. Your valve should always be up. So now what happens is we're just going to take this guy, we're going to plug him in here, like this, clips on. Okay, now with a glass, with a container, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's take this guy, we're going to flip him over, we're going to get that guy in there. And we're just going to open this up because we had some pressure. And we're just going to let some fuel run through there, dripping into the bottle. Okay, you just need like 2 or 3 tablespoons. Turn that off. Let that drip out. This stuff evaporates really, really quickly. But that washes the tube out. We can now unclip them. We can now unclip them from the bottle, pull them back off. Wire goes back in. Yeah, see, it slides so much nicer now. Get it in there just a little bit more. Okay. I believe that's where the wire wants to be, but we're gonna just a little bit there just to make sure. Okay. Now we come back to the needle. Now make sure that the needle's in on the inside, and then what you want to do is feed it up this way, because right now your needle is seated. Okay, again, we'll take a look at the needle. It's just a very, very small pin, and that's your needle. So what you want, before you go and ram this in there, is you want to take your needle and you want to drop it in, because what happens is that you shake this and that cleans the jet, and so that's an awesome, that's why MSR is one of the best companies in my opinion, because they have forward thinking about what happens if something goes wrong in the field. This is already built in. This is built-in maintenance inside within the stove component itself, and that is forward thinking. It's part of the reason why I love Mountain Research, man. Okay. Sorry, Mountain Safety Research. Take your fuel tube upside down. Take your jet. Screw it in. Now that it's sitting there, take your stove tool. Get it on there, and then it's just, again guys, not even a 1/16 of an inch. It's just, you would just want to seat it. That's it. Now we take this back here. Now, remember, hold your legs. I guess we gotta get them back there. That's gonna go up like that. So now we're all set. You take the pump cup or the priming cup off. Hold your legs in place. Don't let them loose. There's no sense in doing extra work. Slide that guy back in. Okay. Screw your primer cup back on. Bam. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a serviced MSR Whisperlite stove. Last thing for us to do is connect the fuel bottle, head on outside. All right, guys. Well, we brought the fuel. We brought a pot. We got the stove, and we brought 500 milliliters of water, because part of testing your kit is making sure that it's actually going to work. So let's put the stove together. As you can, welcome to my backyard. As you can see, I live in Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and it's -9. We're October the 25th today, and it's -9. We got snow. This is just the life I live. So, okay, let's get this set up again. So, let's make sure we got some pressure in here. Can hear that ball in there just bouncing, so we know that that's good. Stove. Love this stove, man. This was actually the very first backcountry stove I ever owned, way back in the day. Okay, we need to hook up our fuel bottle. So this guy, see, he wants to slide into here, like this. And then we clip them on, and that's all it takes. Make sure that's closed, obviously. Now, I can't get you any lower here, so we got a slight breeze today. Now, the lighting of the stove. Gotta get my lighter. Lighting of the stove is basically pretty simple, but it's a little complex at the same point in time. What you need to do is turn on your valve. We got one lone goose looking for his mate, I think. So, we turn on the valve. And we wait till we see some fuel in there. And then we close the valve. Take your lighter and light it at the bottom. Now that's going. And what's going to happen, see, now we got some flame coming. As soon as that starts heating up the tube, you can start giving her a little bit of gas, turn it off again. And there we have it. We'll just keep that turned off. And what that's doing is it's taking the raw fuel, the liquid fuel, it's heating it in the heating tube, and it's turning it into a vapor. Got all kinds of wildlife going on around here today. This is why, guys, when I said that I would never ever cook in my tent, this is why. Let's let that extra fuel burn off. Should be turning to vapor. It's hot enough. I just gave it a little extra juice there. Seems to have a lot of fuel in that cup. It should be vapor by now. This is why we test our gear before we head out in the backcountry with it. There we go. Now we're up and running. Now, might as well test it. So we got 500 milliliters of water. We'll dump that in here. And we'll just see how long it takes. So much quieter than my pocket rocket too. We'll just pop that off again just so you can see the flame. See that blue flame there? That's what you want, a nice blue flame. What's also nice about this is that my Pocket Rocket 2 has a very small, stand. So you really got to get it on the center, whereas the Whisperlite has a much wider stand. And it's a little extra feeling of security, whatever, less chance of accidents happening. Now you can get a windscreen to put around here. Maybe I'll make one of those just to throw in case the wind is really blowing. It's really nice and it also holds the heat closer to the pot. So doesn't take very long with the Whisperlite stove. It really throws a lot of BTUs to your pot, and you don't really use a lot of fuel. But the bonus, once again, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, is that this fuel doesn't freeze anywhere between minus 40 to minus 200 before this fuel will freeze, and that's why it makes a great winter fuel for heading off into the backcountry. Now, while this stuff is boiling here, I will leave you right where you are. I'd like to take this time to thank you guys for coming on the channel today, spending your time checking out Leather Tramp Expeditions. For everybody who's been around for a while, I just can't tell you how much I love you. And for all the new subscribers, thanks for taking a chance on this kid. This is your channel for fun and adventure in the outdoors. We are getting ready for winter camping, and this is part of it. So, and as you can see, the conditions that I'm filming this in, October 25th, we got snow on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. It's cold. You can see my breath. It's like -9 today. So there's not much, I mean, when we get like 6.5, 7 months of winter, to be in the backcountry means that you gotta be doing a lot of winter camping. And this is where it's at right now. All right, let's have a look at how we're doing here. Look at that. I don't know, you guys can see them bubbles. It's been no time at all. 500 milliliters of water, basically that's enough to cook a meal. You can have a hot tea, a hot coffee in the morning. It can be a lifesaver if you need to get that warmth inside you when those isobutane cans won't work for in the wintertime. Look at this. That's a full boil, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. I'd say that the servicing on the old MSR Whisperlite, yeah, we did it, and we did it well. So I'm confident that this equipment is ready for the backcountry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this kind of thing, why don't you throw me, if you need, you know, I've shown a few repairs, you know, fixing tent poles. I have another video coming out on fixing sleeping pads, just tears in my rainfly. For that one hasn't came out yet. It's already been shot. I just have to edit it and produce it. But if you enjoy this kind of thing, please think about giving this video a like up if you're getting something out of it. That really sponsors this channel. And you know, if there's something that you would have a question about or concerns about, or maybe a repair that you would like to attempt on some of your gear but not quite sure, leave a comment down below, and I will see if I have that gear or something similar where I can put together a how do you do on maintenance or repairing of that said equipment. So don't be afraid to get involved with this channel. I'd love to hear from you guys. And there we go, guys. So that is basically the video on how to service your pump and your stove for winter camping and heading out into the backcountry. I hope you all take care, prepare your gear, and until the next one, guys, get out and stay out.